Sheldon Primus.
Welcome to the Safety Consultant Show with Sheldon Primus, where we blend safety smarts with business brilliance and a pinch of Sheldon's signature wit. Whether you're a safety pro, a fresh-faced consultant, or just safety curious, get ready for a show that'll educate, entertain, and elevate your safety game. Let's dive into the art of consulting with your safety Sherpa himself, Sheldon Primus.
This episode is powered by Safety FM.
How is it going, everybody? Hopefully you're doing well. At the time of this recording, it's July 17th, 2025. Happens to be a Thursday. And Thursdays are special days because those are the days that I have chosen to release my episodes to y'all. Y'all good people out there listening to me. Thank you for all the years of listening to me. This is year 5, where I do my seasons where basically I started season 1 like the day of. So I say that's season 1. So when I'm season 5, this is now my 5th year of doing it, beginning of the 5th year. I'm a few months in, obviously, but yeah, that's how I do it. So I believe my anniversary for the show is in April. So I do it towards that. Man, I can't believe so much. There's been so many people doing podcasts lately. It's just like, wow. It seems to be the voice of this generation, which is awesome. I'm glad I was on board early. And you could hear me in some of the previous episodes. Just go to safetyconsultantpodcast.com. You could also listen on Safety FM. That is 24-hour broadcast and networking system for safety, health, any kind of safety and health philosophy that you have is represented in the Safety FM network. If you're a BBS person, we got you. If you're a hot person, we got you. It's just truly a network that if you are into safety, you like listening, you're an auditory listener, or you're literally looking for something to help you research-wise, safetyfm.com. That's your man. Jay Allen has written 3 books. The man's amazing. And you guys know Dr. J quite a bit because I've had him on my show a few times. I'm going to try to have him out now that the trilogy is done. I just need to finish the second and then do the 3rd book. But again, he's part of the Safety FM family because him and Melissa, his wife, were the ones who created that. And please, I think if you're in safety, you're listening to me, you also need to go and get on Safety FM. And if you did not get to listen to my special episode with Dr. J, we had my 300th episode, which was February 13th. He was there. And I've interviewed him quite a bit. And the last time we just talked on his show, I basically got to interview him about his book. So I just want to put that one back again. All right. Love you, Jay. My man. Anyway, today I want to actually have like a real quick kind of discussion with you guys on proposals. I've seen quite a few. Oh, I forgot to tell you, with Dr. J, let me go back. May 10th, we have episode 311, and on that episode, that's when I actually talked to him about safety, in my opinion, consciousness construct, and the reality of risk. If you guys haven't listened to that audiobook or read that book, it's going to change your mind, and just especially with safety and health. We just sometimes we need some people to shake us up, and that book did it. And so listened to the book, and my brain almost every chapter. All right, back to what I was saying. I know I digressed. I had to look up that episode number for you guys. So while I'm looking up episode numbers, I am going to give you guys something that I've written on proposals. That's what our episode is. And we're going to talk a little bit about proposals. And I have many episodes of proposals. So starting with season 1, episode 6, I had a live coaching call with someone, how to structure a proposal. Episode 7, I talked about a step-by-step guide to creating a winning proposal. Episode 124, I talked about basic proposal structures. Episode 159, I did a webinar for ASSP called The Art of the Proposal, and I got my version of it on episode 159. And then on episode 265, I talked about unlocking the power of proposals. So I've been through this conversation with proposals before. So honestly, it's very important that you guys do this right, because it's the way that we make our money. It's the way that we present ourselves to the client so that they get a little bit of how they feel you're going to do as far as if they were to hire you. So I get calls on this and people reaching out to me on Facebook all the time, or if there's a message on someone in one of these huge Facebook groups that has anything to do with safety consulting, I usually get someone who will just put in, see Sheldon, or Sheldon Primus, my name, at Sheldon Primus if you do it on Facebook, and then all of a sudden I get alerted that someone's talking about proposals. So I got reached out very recently from someone else in my network, if you would, and she asked about proposals and how to structure another proposal. So I was like, all right, it's been a while. I'm not going to tell you guys how to structure the proposals because we've gone through that a few times, and I gave you all the episode numbers to look up. But I'm just going to give you my basic thoughts as to how to structure things, all right? And I'm literally working on a proposal myself, so that's why it's top of mind for me, because, you guys know I'm still an active consultant, and I definitely have to still do proposals. So this is how I structure, right? So first, I always have a title page. I always have table of contents. I use Word, so that means title page, table of contents. You're going to have to go and use the word headings and all the things that will help you create a table of contents. But I do that. I start my proposals with a background. I give a background of the company from their About page. I give a background of my organization with a specialty on whatever the proposal's on. I tell them why I'm the expert with this type of work in my background. And if there's a need that is really pressing, such as this proposal is to help with this OSHA compliance issue, blank, I put that also in the background. So a paragraph basically for the organization, and I get that from their About page online, a paragraph about my qualifications towards this job, and then another paragraph or two about why this proposal is going to meet whatever the need is. So that's my background. It's a background of our work together, a background of why I'm giving this proposal. Next section is a scope. And when you do the scope, you really have to be specific about what you're going to do. What method are you going to use to do it? How is it going to play from step to step to step? Sometimes I do things in stages. Here's stage 1, here's stage 2, and then here's stage 3. Most times if I'm going to do, let's say, OSHA compliance package, stage 1, as an example, is usually going to be an assessment of the facility. And some of that I could start right away by their paperwork, and I ask them to send me the paperwork, and I'll have that in there. And usually I start my contracts when I get the money. I do a 50-50 usually. They pay 50% up front, and then the other 50 upon delivery of the final project, whatever it is. So once the first 50% comes in, I usually ask them right away for any written programs to be emailed to me so I could start right away. So I have them visualize what that'll look like. Stage 1, stage 2, then we're going to go to here. Stage 3, then we're going to do this. And at that point, you then can now create your deliverables per stage. So your deliverables are the things tangible that the the service that you're going to provide. Sometimes for me, I've got the ability to create learning management systems. So, that's the tangible thing for the workers. They're going to, or for the client, they're going to actually have access to a learning management system so that they can now work with their staff through my system, right? That's the deliverable part. If you're thinking about a training budget, in the deliverables, you want to make sure I shouldn't say budget, but proposal. Sometimes you need two parts of deliverables. What are they going to deliver to me? And then what do I deliver to them? So usually the deliverables on my end is the course material, the certifications. I'm going to deliver to them certain things such as qualified trainer. If I'm I'll have one of my network do the training and I do the proposal. Those types of things, deliverables for my end. Whereas I might need a deliverable from the client, and usually that's going to be, I need them to provide somebody who's not only qualified as to be able to answer my questions, give me a walkthrough, whatever, but then I also want to make sure that they have some sort of authority too, so that this person could stop stuff that I don't like while we're walking through, and we take care of things right then. So that's also part of the deliverables. If you're teaching, I'm going to need a training room with X amount of space. Here's the seats we're going to need. I want to have a dry erase board with markers, stuff like that. That's what you're going to put into that section. Most people get caught up on the next part, which is the cost and payment. The cost and payment is going to really start making itself apparent to you as you look at first how much time it's going to take. So yes, you have to do kind of a money for time equivalent, but you have to think of prep time. You have to think of analysis time. You have to think of report time. And if you're doing a physical walkthrough, you have to think about that time. So that might also include how many facilities you have to go to, what kind of square footage are you walking in a day, how much hazards, how truly look at your NAICS code for the U.S. and Canada, Mexico. NAICS is North American Industry Classification System Code. So if it's high risk, and I consider high risk what OSHA considers high risk, those individuals that have to do electronic record keeping with only 20 workers, and that's if you go to 1904, which is the OSHA record keeping, Appendix B, Subpart E, I believe. So if I'm correct, I'm doing this by memory, so hopefully I'm correct. But there's an Appendix E, not the Appendix A in Subpart B, which is the exempt companies. You don't want that, but you want go to Subpart E in 1904, which is record keeping. There's an Appendix B, and then that appendix tells you high risk areas. So if I now have a choice of, or I should say I'm doing a proposal to two companies, I'm probably going to charge the high risk organization a little bit more than I would the lower risk organization because the value to them is greater. Okay, the service will be the same, but the value is greater. Your quote has to reflect the value that your client's willing to pay. Also, you're thinking fairness, right? So you got a little bit of both, but I would look for risk. How risky is this client? The value of service, meaning if I know that OSHA's going to be able to cite this person for an incredibly high amount of money, then that value goes up, that structure goes up. So whenever I'm doing the quote, I'm going to reflect that. So if I'm doing, for instance, a quote with a fall protection class for residential roofers, and I know that OSHA cites these residential roofers so much higher than doing a fall protection class for maybe a private school, at that point, I'm only doing ladder safety and a few other things, right? Maintenance work that I'm going to help them with. But honestly, if it's a 4-hour class, both organizations, I'm going to charge the residential roofers higher than I would the school. And the reason why is risk. The reason why is OSHA then also pretty much looks at that organization that's a residential roofer as being high risk. So they have much more to lose. So there's a variable of that. There's a variable of size. Though a company's high risk, if I was a roofer with a smaller company, like 50 or less, I'm going to charge them less than some company that has over 250 because each person represents a moniker of risk. So therefore, that's embedded in the risk side of how much I'm going to cost. You notice I didn't give you guys dollar figures yet? That's because I can't give you dollar figures. It has to be up to you. So best way you could do is try to figure out what is your market value. If it's something like an OSHA 10 or OSHA 30, that's easy. You could just look up OSHA 10 and 30s online in your area, and then you can start getting a profile of how much other people are charging. That doesn't mean you charge the same, because it could be under or overvalued depending on your market. But you also have to think about yourself. How much is my service worth? How much is my expertise worth? How much am I paying to get over here and travel and all that? Because you're going to have to think about travel and per diem. So if you're 50 miles away from this location versus you have to take a flight and stay over places and, 2 nights stay or whatever, that's also part of the cost, right? So don't forget about that. And when you're doing travel, give yourself an extra day. So you want to get there the day before, not the day of. And then usually I check out on the last day I'm with the client, and then I try to drive out of there if I'm driving, or if I'm flying, then I'll basically check out the following morning. So think about that too with your structure of how much you're going to pay. Don't forget about your time for what is it going to cost you, and this is where you could do your hours, your time physically to walk the facility, the time to do your reports and everything else. So that's also embedded in there too. How do you structure your hours? We're in the professional range, so we are right around that lawyer, consultant, are pretty much considered someone that is in that level, if you would. So I've told you guys before, my hourly rate's $3.25. Not everybody will be able to do that. I started at $80 an hour. So it's your experience, everything else. Just when you're over, the thoughts that you have to think about is, how much is this project worth to me? How much time am I going to spend? And then how much is this project worth to my client? So you have to get out of yourself and also think about the client in this one. How much is it worth to them? All right. So I can't give you guys much more than that. I can't give you dollars and all that, but I am going to tell you, you do want to put at the very end terms and conditions, and you also want to have some sort of signature block on your proposals. If not, I do some proposals without a full signature, but what I'll do is I'll do a contingency thing in the emails and all that. Don't forget to give in your cost and payment section a way for your client to pay you. If you do it online through PayPal, Stripe, whatever system you use, or you do direct deposit or whatever, tell them how to pay you too. All right. Some people, like I do, I'll give a discount for payment in full. 10% is, usually my discount. I've actually gone even less in some cases as a 5% discount. But then if someone wants to pay in installments, I'll give them that. And the installments is 2, which is 50% when I sign the contract, and then the other 50% when I give you the final work. So that is the installment plan, if you would. Very last thing is, you do want to put in the compliance team if you're going to do any kind of compliance, or the trainer bio or something. So whoever's hiring you may know you, but if they have to give this information to someone for approval, or just to pass it on to someone who needs to be informed, you want to have your credentials there too. So throw that in as well as the very end. Most of my proposals are going to be roughly about 6 to 8 pages. If you're doing these 1-page little receipt type things for proposals, you're not even the same ball field. You're not telling the client you're competent enough. So honestly, you gotta work a little harder than that. But overall, I think I gave you guys the gist of the philosophy behind proposals. All right. So again, many episodes, at least 5 episodes, I've talked about proposals in the past. Here is just a updated thought on proposals, right? And the dollar figure that you end up with, typically I say at least double it. All right? It sounds counterproductive, but whatever dollar you figure you come out with, sometimes I honestly just double it. Okay? Don't be scared. I know I have to say that in context. Hold on. Let me back myself up, because if I, automatically you're going to just double it because I told you to, then in context, you want to make sure that you truly feel that the risk reward is there and you're not going to undersell yourself. Most people undersell themselves. That's going to be your rate. That's going to be what they expect of you. So don't undersell yourself. All right. I've given you a lot to think about. You guys are going to just go through the past proposal episodes I gave you with the numbers earlier. And just, you guys could do this, all right? Just go get them.
That's a wrap for today's safety show. Remember, safety isn't just about hard hats and caution signs. It's about business smarts too. Thanks for joining us on the Safety Consultant Show with Sheldon Primus. Until next time, stay safe, stay savvy, and keep consulting like a boss. Go get 'em. The views and opinions expressed on this podcast or broadcast are those of the host and its guests and do not necessarily reflect the official policy or position of the company. Examples of analysis discussed within the past hour, only examples. It should not be utilized in the real world as the only solution available, as they are based only on very limited and dated open source information. Assumptions made within this analysis are not reflective of the positions of the company. No part of this podcast or broadcast may be reproduced, stored in a retrieval system, or transmitted in any form or by any means, mechanical, electronic recording, or otherwise, without prior written permission of the creator of the podcast or broadcast, Sheldon Primus.
This episode has been powered by Safety FM.
Are you ready to make a difference? Introducing the Safety Consultant Blueprint course. Unlock your potential as a safety consultant. Learn the skills, strategies, and ethics to create safer workplaces for your very own client. From risk assessment to client acquisition, we've got you covered. Become a safety consultant and open doors to being your own boss. Join us and be the hero of workplace safety. Enroll today. Safety starts with you. Take the first step now. Visit our website and enroll in the Safety Consultant Blueprint course. Empower businesses. Protect lives. SafetyConsultantBlueprint.com.